All right. May I say a couple of words?
Sit down, you may.
All right. So here we got our special guest here for Saturday, and I've known Stephen Bennett for a lot of years now. I went to the Winfield Bluegrass Festival down at Walnut Valley Festival down at Winfield, actually, and went with a friend. He was a student of mine, and he said, "Hey, you want to check out this Bluegrass Festival? And there's all these great players." And I'd heard Stephen on one of these compilation albums from Narada. I think it was one of theirs, and heard. I think you were on both of them. Maybe there was two of those.
3 of them, actually.
Yeah, 3 of them. Yeah. So that was when I first heard Stephen, and I saw that he was going to be playing there, and there's a picture of him with a harp guitar, and I was like, oh my God, this is a chance for me to actually hear a harp guitar in person, and actually get to hear Stephen Bennett live, and I was absolutely blown away. I wasn't familiar with much of his music other than what I heard in this little collection thing, so getting to see him live really blew my mind, and so after seeing him on the big stage down at Winfield, there's these sort of booths with guitars set up and things, and there was a booth set up from a company called Mass Street Music, which is actually a guitar store here in town on Mass Street over here. And so I went there, and I started playing their guitars, checking things out, and I saw Stephen Bennett coming, so I thought I'd play a little trap to see if I could get his attention, and I started playing Drifting as he was walking by. And so that was how we initially met, and we've been friends ever since. That was like a year, I think that was 99 or 2000, so 25 years, and he sold me my first harp guitar. I think that was 2003 or so, and he's started the Harp Guitar Gathering. I think that first one was 2004.
2003.
2003 also. Oh my gosh.
2003, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So that's.
And you were there?
I was there. Yeah, I had hair. And I was there.
He was there with hair. And you were at the second one?
Yeah, I was at the second one. I think maybe I went down to Florida and Oregon too. So there were about 4 or 5 of them that are really on there.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to host the next one here in Lawrence.
Which will be the 24th.
24th, yeah. So, yep, we'll be cooperating making that happen. We're going to try to do it at Liberty Hall, which is where Michael recorded because it's there.
When will that be?
That'll be next November.
It'll be early November.
Yeah.
26.
Yeah, 26.
Yeah, 26.
Yeah.
This year's gathering is Travis Bowman is hosting it. It'll be in North Little Rock.
Yeah, so anyway, carrying on about my history, this guy, I've always adored his music, adored him. He's just one of a kind and such a unique sound. No one sounds like Stephen, and he's so prolific. He has 3,000 albums available for sale. Yeah, just a pleasure to have him back here. I think this is the 3rd time here at Musicarium,
Yeah.
if I recall. So please welcome Stephen Bennett.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Andy.
That's a tune I would see in books just over the years, and I just never really paid any attention to it. I just, was looking for tunes and just never tried it. And it was, I was listening to an interview with Dick Dale, the surf guitarist, posthumously on NPR, whatever, I don't know, how many years ago, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, he passed away. And he did that in Pulp Fiction, did a very different version of the song than I just played. But I just loved it. And so I went back and found a melody in the book that I'd been ignoring for years, and just worked up an arrangement. So anyway, I love that melody. It actually goes back to somewhere in the Eastern Mediterranean, probably around 1900. Apparently it's really big at Greek weddings. So if you play Greek weddings at all, we'll learn that too, and I'll send you that transcription if you'd like. So did you have a question? Yeah.
As much as a comment, I just want to say I've never thought in my entire life to use my left-hand thumb to hit a harmonic behind where I'm positioned.
Yeah.
That was just really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's they just like they wanted the other note to keep ringing, So that's what he's talking about there, yeah. So anyway, just starting out with that. So I'm obviously, Trevor was complaining. I don't know if you were complaining, but you were observing how old you are, as if that was old, at 40. Okay, you should stop doing that, Trevor, because I'm 69, and that makes me feel older. Yeah, I'd be feeling old at 40. But at any rate, I come from a different generation, and probably fairly apparent. I am not exactly a traditional fingerstyle guitar player, but I come out of that tradition more than probably everybody else that's instructing and stuff. And so that gives me, it's just a different perspective on things. But I'm always, I've been tapping, for a bunch of years. I not like what you guys do, but I've been throwing that in for a long time. I would even throw that into some flat picking tunes that I would do. I would throw some tapping into the middle there, just because it was fun. And I love that sound. that percussive sound. So, but I'm always looking for stuff, just like you guys are. You know, looking for new sounds and new ways to just to put notes together here. And so, you know, just in terms of how I use a capo, in terms of tunings, I don't go quite as nuts with my tuning as some of you here do. But I do experiment quite a bit. And you know, like one day I'm on my way down to drop D, which I love, which is where I'm at right at the moment. You know, I thought to myself, why do I always do that? Why don't I just tune the string up and see what happens? And so I went to F. And did any of you do that?
In standard?
In standard. I hadn't either, and I you know, I wrote several tunes here because it's a different tuning. Every tuning presents opportunities and challenges, right? And I won't play this whole tune, but you can see just in just a few seconds of this. Right after that, that's a fat F. There's opportunities there. So I'm always been looking for stuff like that. Or, you know, I would be at D and I would go, what if I go to C? So generated, you know. So, you know, it's just like, again, just opportunities and challenges. Here, maybe I'll play this tune. This is a tune I wrote for Sandra Bullock. I'm a big fan of Sandra Bullock's. And they got the, you know, stalking charges withdrawn. Happily. No, I shouldn't joke about that because she has had stalking issues, but they were not from me. So, but you know, I was moved to write a tune for her because I love her. No. But that's right. Just kidding. Security? Okay. No, so I can't remember what year it was, but it was a year there was a massive earthquake and a tidal wave, a tsunami, that destroyed whatever, I don't know where it was. I think it was Japan, I don't remember which one it was. At any rate, I just saw a news item that she had given, you know, some millions of dollars for relief efforts. And so I just thought that's very cool. So, you remember she had that film called Miss Congeniality? So this tune's called Miss Generosity. Just kidding, yeah.
Another question. All right, so we've heard from everyone here, like other instructors, their songwriting process.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's melody first, sometimes it's chords first. Is that the same thing, or really just depends on the song? Do you gravitate to the melody first? What do you do?
It's all at the same time.
Really? Okay.
It's all at the same time. Yeah, I don't think of a melody separately. It's in relation to the harmony. I don't think of just, a set of chords. Yeah, so my songwriting process. Well, here, that sets up this. So, sometimes I have an idea, for a song. It's like, it's always, I write about, whatever. I write tunes about people, places, events, things, pets, animals. I have, like, I don't know, probably, 15 different species of animal tunes. I have a gorilla tune, I have multiple dog and cat tunes, I have a firefly tune, I have an elephant tune, all kinds of things. Just whatever, I read a piece on how elephant habitat is being decimated, and I sit down with my instrument, and I'm thinking about that, and I start noodling, and sometimes something emerges. And the way I know something emerges is when it won't go away. Okay? And I have said this for years. I feel a little less strongly about it now that I'm approaching 70. But people would ask me, do you record your ideas? No, I don't. I never have. For one very, very simple and obvious and indisputable reason. If I come up today with an idea that I think is really great and I can't remember it tomorrow, by definition, it's not memorable. Sorry. You can't argue that, by definition. As I say, I'm wavering a little bit. That I don't remember if I actually ate breakfast or not, whatever, on any given day, whatever. And watching my mother suffer from dementia, as in her final years, was really very sobering as well. So yeah, but the way it works is that if if I have an idea, if I'm thinking about elephants or whatever it is, and I sit down with the guitar in hand and something emerges that I have a pretty good idea, but if I can't remember it the next day, it's gone. Although sometimes it's happened that I can't remember it the next day, but I remember it a week later, so that's fine. It was memorable enough to come to me when it was ready to come again. But then I never get whole tunes. That never happens. But I get enough that if it's something that I remember tomorrow, what I thought was so good today, I'm going to finish it because I consider that's my job. That's a gift from God, from the universe, from the great muffin in the sky, whatever it is that you worship or believe. It's my job to finish it. And I follow it the best of my abilities. I use, I listen, and I do it by, obviously I have some training. I know I've been doing it a long time, so I use my experiences, I use my knowledge, but I use my ears more than anything else. What sounds good, what sounds musical, what's supposed to come next. And it served me well, because it's not 3,000, albums, as I think Andy said that I have, but my next album is my 33rd, I believe. That's not, I have other albums that are, like with somebody else. I did an album with my brother, who's a piano player. I did several albums with a guy, a multi-instrumentalist in Virginia named Bill Gurley. I did an album last year with another guy named Stephen Bennett, same spelling, from the UK. That album's called SB Squared. So it's so that it served me well was my point. And to get those ideas flowing, I will do things like I will set up a specific, capo configuration, because that's one thing I started doing years ago was using partial capos. Meaning, for those, and you all know what that means, it's just I'm not covering all the strings necessarily. That little bit of information actually got my name in the credits of a Rush album, which is fun. It's fun, come on, it's fun. So it was, Alex Lifeson is a friend of mine, a guitarist from Rush, and probably 20 years ago, I think it was, he came to hear me play in Toronto, and we hung out after the show until the wee hours, and just hit it off, and he was unfamiliar with that technique. He just hadn't done that before. And so I handed him it was a banjo capo, because it covered 5 strings nicely, and I just handed it to him at the end of the night. And I did not know until the end of the night, because he said he had to go. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I think he had to go because the next day he was meeting Geddy Lee, the bass player, vocalist for Rush. They were going to start writing for their next album. And so on that album, which was Snakes and Arrows in 2007, which is a great album, there is a tune, I think it's The Larger Bowl, and Alex uses partial capo on it. So he graciously just, I found that my name was in the credits there. So that's just fun. So anyway, I'll do things like that. And sometimes it's you leave a bass string open, sometimes you leave the first string open. I don't know if Andy's here or not in the room, but did he include in your packet, or did he say anything? Did he maybe put in a print copy of a tune of mine? Did he do that, or did he leave a?
I think he emailed them all.
He emailed them out. Okay, so he should have an email out to you. And there's a tune I wrote for my friend Kim Person, who's a recording engineer I've been working with since 1987. I still, at this point, when I moved from Virginia, where I lived for 30 some odd years, to Connecticut, 15, 16 years ago, I was 500 miles away so it was much harder to work with her. So I started recording myself. I learned how to do that. But still, everything I record then goes to Kim. And sometimes she sends it back and says, nope, do that again. Not anymore, but in the beginning. But at any rate, so I was like, this tune is called My Friend Kim. I wrote her a tune. And so you have that. And I'll play just a little bit of that.
I don't think we have it. He didn't send it.
He didn't send it yet. Well, he's got it, and he will.
He will.
So you just remind him, and he's got it. I sent it to him. So that's in drop D. And So then what did I do? So, right, so then I capoed here at the 4th fret, leaving the 1st string open. Not quite tight enough, exposing a little bit. Goes like that. Right, so it's kind of nice. So I set myself up for that, and that song was a different one. That one is, I didn't have any idea what I was going to call it or what it was about. It was nothing in particular. I just sat down. I think I was at my son's house in Temecula, California, where I keep a guitar just there, so that I always have. When I go see him, I don't have to carry a guitar with me. And I just set that up, and that tune started there. It's like, okay, that's great. And I just, I got that first little bit, and I knew I had something. It wouldn't go away. It was there the next day. I followed it to where it was supposed to go. And that means, for me, that means starting at the beginning a whole bunch of times and testing out things. Is this going to work? Is this right? So that's my compositional process in a nutshell. I get an idea. I know it's an idea because it won't go away, and I get the idea by being inspired by something or by sitting down with a guitar and trying to come up with a piece that then I have to come up with a name for. I mean, sometimes I know what the title is ahead of it before I write I have a note in mind. It just all depends.
What made you think of drop D, capo up 4 frets and leave the 1st string?
Because I never did that before. I just hadn't done that before. And I thought, why not? Just let me see what happens. Maybe nothing. I try things that make no sense to me at all. That okay, well that was stupid. It probably wasn't stupid. It just didn't speak to me that day. I think you could probably put the guitar and the strings in sort of almost any configuration of notes, and if you search hard enough, you'll find that it will make a song. Make something of beauty. But I'm looking for something that's not that hard. Just any random thing. Although I have,
You did a song, probably going to pronounce this wrong, called A La Dorette?
Col de la Rey.
Lottery, okay.
Yeah, it was named for
So
it's a mountain pass in the French Alps.
that tab to learn it, and you actually emailed me saying, be sure you capo up 2 frets and leave the E string open. And I was like,
You hadn't done that before?
I hadn't, but at the time I was like, well, let's just drop D. So I learned it and dropped D.
Oh yeah, how'd that work?
And for a couple of years, that's how I played it. I recently went back to that PDF and I'm gonna learn it the way he had it on there. So I actually relearned it, and yeah, it's
Made all the difference?
it did, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting. I mean, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's that tune, yeah. Yeah.
Adirondack Lullabies in the same configuration.
It's in the same configuration. I've done a bunch of them that way. I've done them where you put the 4th fret. I've done Vika's tunes. David here's somewhere around here. Yeah, there you are. He's been working hard on Vika's tune. That's at the 5th fret, and I won't play the whole thing, just a little bit. When I found that, I was ecstatic, because that is, to me, that's just so damn cool. Then back behind the fret, I mean, I've got this great sound here. My head was spinning. It's like, I was so excited. You gotta admit, that's kind of contagious. I mean, it's always be bonic play, but that's not always a good thing. Yeah, and I followed it, and it's just like, it's just, yeah, it's just, it works. There's stuff there to be found, and it puts the guitar in a, it gives you new opportunities and problems. But I love that one, and I would, when I play that, I will introduce it by saying, I have quite a challenge in here. You may have to wish me luck, because I have to be, at some point in the song, I have to be here and here at the same time. It's tricky. So fortunately, it doesn't have to be exactly the same time. So anyway, yeah. The questions are, yeah.
Yeah. Especially compared to some of the other folks that have been up there, your tone is just very gentle and warm. How much of that is right-hand technique or string material, string age, guitar material? Just
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a mix. I don't know what I can't do better than that. Yeah, I just love the way a guitar sounds. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love what these guys are doing. I love those huge, humongous sounds. It's just not me. It's not me. And I do have there are a few tunes that of mine that I go into the cave, like these guys do with the reverbs. They go way deep in the cave. I've got a few of them, but I don't put those on. Kim Person, my engineer friend that I was mentioning before, she does that stuff. I just don't do it. And I never do that stuff live. In fact, I've got a couple of things on my upcoming album where she's got some nice. There's one where she's got 4 reverbs that she's got going at the same time. But I'm not going to be trying to do that live, because it's not me. It's just not me, really. I mean, besides which, I get all tangled up in this. I mean, I hit something wrong, and it's just playing it is enough. I'll probably play that tune for tonight, but you won't be getting. It'll sound fatter and lusher on the album, but it'll still be fun. Just this. But yeah, I like the way the guitar sounds, just as it is. So yeah.
As a flat picker, how has that influenced your playing in fingerstyle?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. So, and I was a flat picker. I'm not a flat picker anymore. I can't flat pick at all. My arm does not work in that way anymore. I think I probably made the mistake of using too heavy a pick for a long time. I mean, I did well with it. I mean, I was the national flat picking champion in 1987 when I was a much younger guy. But I can't do it anymore. But I still love that music. I don't really love bluegrass per se. I love the instrumentation of bluegrass. Bluegrass vocals, a lot of the time, I love some bands. Like I loved Hot Rise, particularly. Did you ever hear Hot Rise? Oh, they were a great band out of Colorado with Tim O'Brien.
Yeah.
They were great. Anyway, but I do love the instrumentation, and I love the sound of that flatpicking. So I've actually gotten to the point where I can do some of that this way, with my thumb and my middle finger and my acrylic nails. Well, it's my real nails that are backed up by acrylic, I should say. And so here, I'm going to play this tune tonight, but I'll give you a little sample of it. So standard tuning. 4th fret capo leaving the 1st string open, and this is a tune I wrote. Well, I'll say that tonight. So that starts it. And then that reoccurs in the tune. So it's just, I've started to, I've been doing that for years now, and it started out badly, it just wasn't very convincing, but I just kept at it, and because I wanted to be able to get that single note stuff with something, it's not quite as strong as the flat pick would do it, but it's not bad. You know, it's not bad.
Sounds great.
Thank you. Yeah, and I wrote maybe I'm not gonna play this song right now. This one almost, you know what cross picking is, like with a flat pick? Yeah, so it's,
Hybrid picking.
no, it's not a hybrid picking, it's, yeah, it's you got that sort of repetitive stuff, so, I wrote it to, this is called Back to You. It's a fingerstyle tune, but it's kind of interesting in a couple ways, because it's probably got the lowest melody. It's the second lowest melody that I've got, that I probably, in terms of where the melody note actually sits on the guitar. Let's see what I mean. I wrote one that on the harp guitar that goes down a little lower, but that's another story. Thank you very much. Yeah, sir.
Could you tell us I'm sorry if I missed it, the name of that tune?
It's called Back to You.
Up to you.
Back to You.
Also the name of the tune that you played second, where you tuned the low E string up to an F?
That's just called Remember.
Remember.
Funny thing is I can't remember why I called it that. But anyway, yeah, that's But, so that last one I just played, did you see that that's sort of like a flat picking sort of influence?
I thought it was.
No, that,
Yours
this
doing
gentleman.
us, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah, so I mean, and it's just, I love that sound, and you can do that easily with a pick. I mean, that song could be played with a pick, although not all of it, because, and did you check out this? I love this one. Let's see. So the low G there, let's drop down. The A, and the C sharp, love that. And that's why, when it came in with that, later on, I was just playing it, and that's just an octave lower from what this is. So anyway, that's what's going on there.
I stole that method, actually.
What's that?
I stole that method from one of your songs.
Good, you didn't know.
With an octave lower.
Okay. Police? Somebody call the police. Yes, sir.
I was wondering if you could tell us a little about the guitar you have.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. This is a Circa guitar. It's made by a guy named John Slobod up in Maine. And, I forget what it is, actually. I'm so bad. I don't remember these things. Somebody tell me. I forget. It's a gorgeous bag, but I forget what it is.
Wood.
It's wood. It's wood. I don't remember what it is. And why am I doing this? That's felt. That's felt with adhesive. That's on my Harp guitar as well. I do that. I just started doing that last year. It's on pretty much all my guitars because I get tired of hearing that. I want to hear that when I want to hear that, but I don't want to hear it the rest of the time. And now, that's far less offensive to me. And I can't help but bump once in a while. It's just the way it is. But, so anyway, I love John Slobod. He's a great builder. And I ordered this, I commissioned this guitar. It's odd that, it's always a leap when you do that, rather than just being able to try something out. And go, oh, I want this. And so I waited a couple of years, and it came, and I liked it very much. But before long, I was getting, like, it won't happen now because it's gone, but I would get to that in around there, and I'd be playing something, and I would hit that, and then the distortion, internal distortion would happen. And I would take it to various luthier friends or repair friends, and they'd say, oh, yeah, I think it's a truss rod. It's probably rattling in there somehow or other. And they'd tweak it a little bit, and it'd stop for a little bit, and then it'd be back as soon as they weren't around or in the room. And so I just put the guitar away for a couple of years. I had lots of guitars, so I just would play other guitars. And I felt bad because I really liked John. I wanted, be out playing this guitar some, and besides, I bought the guitar. I wanted it for that reason as well. Even if I didn't like him, I would want the guitar to sound good. So I drove up to visit him early last year in January up in Maine, and I sat down, in front of him, and of course it didn't happen at that point. It did not happen. And I said, all right, damn it. And he said, all right, let me look. And so he got it to happen. And it turns out it was he spent like 3 hours on it. But it was, in fact, a truss rod thing, but it wasn't, and I don't know the particulars of it, but it wasn't in a way that any other truss rod problem had ever presented itself before, but he did figure it out, and it's gone, that distortion, which would have been great for particular tunes and applications, but not for when you just want to play that note. So that's, John Slobod. I like it a lot. Yeah. Other questions? Any questions about the Harp guitar?
That's what I was actually about to ask. Do you have, what's your history? How did you get into it?
Playing figure style or the Harp
No,
guitar?
Harp guitar.
Okay. Let's see. One of these is that's the. I'm not hooked up to that, am I? Yes, I am. Right. So, whoop. No, that's it. Okay. Well, so if I go there, I'm just over the tune up. There we go. Now I can come in. Okay. Good. Okay. So this is Big Mama. Big Mama is from 1909. That makes her 116 years old. And she didn't come with the name Big Mama. It didn't take long after I got her that it was like, well, it was sort of like the idea, like, when Big Mama speaks, you listen, right? You know, and that's what happens with this guitar, because it's just such a great timing instrument. But
What year was it again?
116 years old. Did I put the wrong chord in? Oh no, that's it. I've got that back on. So. No. No, that's the tempo stuff. Forget that. Go away. Is it out there? Not very much, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Bring it up here.
There now.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Thanks. Okay. So this is my great grandfather's. Moses. No. No, it's I know, correct myself. Yeah, so he played it as my maternal side, my mother's grandfather. And he played it. He actually, according to family lore, he played it on the radio in the 1930s in Portland, Oregon, on KGW, which is a station that's still there. On Friday nights, they had a show called the Hoot Owl Radio Hour. And I don't know if he was on it once or a couple times, or if he was a regular. I have no idea. The family lore isn't that precise on it. But it said he was on it at some point. Mel Blanc, the voice of many classic cartoon characters, was a regular on the show. So it was a variety show. And it was like, apparently that was one of the stations that, like WSM, that out of Nashville, that broadcast the Grand Ole Opry, it would be reached by, for hundreds of miles around. Same thing up in the Pacific Northwest. So, yeah. So this guitar could have been on stage with Mel Blanc right over here making, goofy voice sounds. But at any rate, I heard him play it for, once when I was maybe 9 years old, because he was living in Oregon, on the Oregon coast. And I grew up in New York. So I only met the guy a couple times, and I think I, heard him play a little bit on it once. But I did wind up with a tape that he did, a reel-to-reel tape that he did in the kitchen, where my great-grandmother was singing, I suppose, shrieking. It's more like it. Singing would be rather generous. And he wasn't playing solo. He was mostly accompanying himself singing with it. But it was very musical. So he was definitely, he loved this instrument. He had it for a long time. But after he died in 1968, it sort of went into limbo for 20 years. And in 1988, I was in Oregon visiting relatives there again, and went down to my uncle's basement where this thing had spent quite some time, and pulled it up and brought it into the living room and noodled around with it for a few minutes. And my uncle Ike said, "This really should be yours." And so, my favorite uncle. So that's how I started with it. I knew about it. I carried a picture of it around in my regular guitar case. But in 1988, that's when my first recording came out. I had just won the flatpicking championship, and I started recording. You know who was on that? My first recording is Victor Wooten, played blues on several tracks. Very, very, very cool. I'm playing upright bass some of the time and electric bass on a few other tracks. But at any rate, so yeah, I got this in '88, and I immediately just set to work trying to figure out what I was going to do with it. And I just started arranging things right away. I would just do, well, let me tell you what the tuning is, first of all. So I had to figure out what to do with that, because I didn't know. And what I realized immediately was that it really didn't matter. It's not like there was a whole harp guitar community out there was going to say, "No, that's wrong." It was wide open. I could do whatever the hell I wanted with this thing. And so I knew I wanted to have this note as an open string. So So I gave that to myself. Now, that's from there, that's the real differential between what I do, and I think Andy he started out doing that. I think he probably still is using that. It changes sometimes. I mean, I'll change it by a half step occasionally to an F sharp. But I dropped a D, C, B, A, and for a long time I went to another G, like an octave lower than this one, which was like a wonderful, thunderous thing. It would be like boom at the same time. Hit them all together. It was powerful as hell and beautiful. But for wanting to ease the tension on the instrument, I just stopped doing that some years ago, and so I default to E right now. But for a long time I had a G. But I just started arranging things. So here, let's see. This is an old, probably fiddle tune called Lonesome John, fairly obscure. Haven't hit a bass yet. I haven't hit a thing there. Okay, do you hear that ringing? So that's, right off the bat, I just love that. It's got this gorgeous reverb naturally. So I just started doing things. I would do Beatles tunes. I would, that is God's C major. You'd be on Jeopardy sometime, and that could be the answer. What is this card? That's God's C major. What is God's C major? According to Steve Bennett. It's the low C, the G is the fifth, and then there is the third, an octave higher, so the 10th. I love that. There's no taking that away from me. So where lots of other players, so by having that G there makes that possible. And so where lots of traditionally wasn't done, and players would just typically go down. So this would be like a D, and then we go down from there. But I don't care. It was wide open. At this point, it's just known as Bennett tuning, for harp guitar. And lots of people use it because they see the wisdom of the and the error of the previous ways. There are lots of great players that do the other tuning. Lots of great players. My friend Andy Wahlberg. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a great player out of Florida. But he's actually. So I started a convention, as Jeff Titus knows. He's been to it several times. I didn't start it as a convention. I just started as a get-together for people that played harp guitar, built them, were authorities on them, or just plain loved them, that I had run into over the years. In 2003, I said, do you want to get together for a weekend in Williamsburg, Virginia, and just have all things harp guitar for the weekend? And a bunch of people did. McKee was there at the first one in 2003. And I just meant it to be a one-time thing, but everybody wanted to do it again. So we're up to the 23rd this year. So, and we even did one in COVID. It wasn't in person, it was a 6-hour Zoom gathering. It was the best we could do that year, so we counted it. Where was I going with this? I digress, as I want to do.
How many harp guitars do you have?
How many harp guitars do I have? Way less than I used to. Nowadays I only have the 2. I have this one, and I have one by Kathy Wingert out of California. And that one has sharpening levers, and it's great. It's a great instrument. So what's happened is, I've had a number of others. I just sold them off. I sold some off to, my son was at law school, just to help him with that. And really only need to have so many harp guitars. But I haven't even touched the Wingert in more than a year at this point, because I'm just having so much fun. I mean, this, again, I just can't say it enough. I mean, World War I was 5 years away when this instrument emerged, right? I mean, that's crazy. When The Wizard of Oz came around, this instrument was 30. Yeah.
Have you ever got that thing appraised? How much it's worth?
Yeah, it's probably, there's probably some amount of value that can't really be ascertained, that probably because it, well, yeah, I mean, that it's only insured for $10,000 at this point. It's probably would fetch more. If I was to be deceased, well, let's put it this way, when I am deceased, and we will all be deceased at some point. But, the value might go up a little bit just because it was mine. I don't know, but I don't care. You know what I mean? So it's, I don't know. It's something astronomical.
Strikes me as very, very expensive.
Yeah, I mean, it would be. It's an incredible sounding instrument. I think. I mean, just as a guitar.
Did you say what brand it was?
Yes, it says Dyer Brothers on the inside,
Dyer, okay,
but
Dyer.
that's not who built it.
That's
That was a
not-
chain of music stores. It was built by the Larson brothers, and they are legends. Yeah, the Larson brothers.
Talk about the work you've had done on it.
Yeah, I had the, when I got it in '88, there was no reason to have it done, but to have the neck reset, but I couldn't believe that the neck didn't need to be reset after that many years, so I had the neck reset, which maybe was stupid, or maybe it was just good preventative future maintenance. But other than that, it's just been a few little odds and ends. I had it refretted maybe 3 years ago, I guess. It was definitely in time for that. But this thing, this thing has had stretches since I've owned it where I didn't touch it for a year because I had a bunch of other harp guitars. And the Wingert became my. I didn't take this out anywhere on the road most of the time. When she was 100 in 2009, I had gigs around the world then, so she went, we played in Latvia, we played, all around Europe. Latvia was the closest I ever got quite to Russia, but we played in Germany and Italy and France and Belgium and the Netherlands, and all around a bunch of places in Canada. I took it on the international guitar tour that I was on then, and all around this country. And that was when she was 100, and that's 16 years ago. So, and I just, I got it out last year just because I've been ignoring her for a long time, and I can't believe how good she sounds. And so, it's the only thing I've been playing. Anyway, yeah.
What do you have for pickups? Do you have one?
K&Ks.
K&Ks. Is there one in each spot, or is it just in the back?
No, it's just the 3 sensors
Really?
spaced out. Yep, it's the pure Western Mini. And I love it. Some people like to, to have their each one of these strings has a pickup or whatever. And I get that logically that makes sense to me, and they get good sounds out of it. But it's not me. I want it to sound more like a piano. I want it to react more like a piano. And you wouldn't put a microphone on every note on a piano. You know what I mean? Because am I hearing all the notes? I am. You? Do they sound about equal? There's no dropouts or jump outs to me, and so I love that. See. Name that tune. You're on the edge of that. That's called Harlem Nocturne.
Does your other harp guitar have super treble like?
No, I never had one.
Henderson plays with a.
Yeah, Muriel's got the super trebles. Yeah, I call those the tinklies, and I just do it laughingly. I mean, I love the sound of them, but I don't want everybody to have those. I don't want to have them. I love this. I like to hear those super trebles once in a while on a song. When I hear like multiple songs in a row with super trebles, I'm on edge. This is so rich and warm to me.
Right.
It's like perfection. I just absolutely love this one. Yeah.
Yeah, as you owned it, had you like heard it open up or change in tone since you first played it?
Well, again, it was, she was just shy of, she was 79 when I got her, or 89? 89, whatever, I've lost track. Three kinds of people in the world, those who can do math, those who understand numbers and those who don't, right? Yeah. No, I haven't noticed it open up because it was pretty open to start with. It had been played, let's put it this way. So I put this on here. All right, let's try this.
Let's hold it down for a second.
Yep, there we go. So feel right in there. Feel, just like my fingers, go that way. Feel the groove?
Yeah.
Okay, so just so you see what I'm talking about. Okay, so that was, so my great grandfather played it with metal finger picks. Okay, so right here, I didn't do that. I mean, that's the. So what I'm talking about is right there. They all felt it. So, I mean, that's a lot of wear. I don't want any more of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's, one more. What was the question?
The fretboard's got some pretty major wear too on it.
It does, but it's not problematic at this point. And I may have to, I don't know, I may not. There's some grooves in here, but the frets getting redone helped a lot. But, yeah.
Okay, so this is more of a really weird question or random. So like
My
the harp
God.
guitar, like when I think harp guitar, that's what I think, right? Like with the bass at the top, your standard guitar. I've seen other kind of guitars too that like are maybe the three necks, and like I've seen where the bass is. There's another guitarist out there in Italy. He's got one at the bass at the bottom. So is that still considered a harp guitar, or is it something different? Like is it traditional versus non?
Okay, so a couple things about harp guitar. So one of the people that comes to the gathering every year is a guy named Greg Miner. So and he knows more about these instruments than anybody on the planet.
Okay.
So if you go to harpguitars, plural, .net, you could see incredible historical photographs, because these go back hundreds of years.
Right.
And you'll see, you can learn more than you ever wanted to know about them. So Greg actually, he belongs to AMUS, the American Musical Instrument Society. And so he's got actually in the Groves Dictionary of Music, he actually is responsible for the definition of what a harp guitar is at this point, because it wasn't clear, because people were using it in ways that didn't make sense to us. It was not consistent.
Right.
So the definition basically is a guitar in any of its usual forms with one or more additional strings that are unfretted, which is to say open, which is to say harp-like. So as long as there is one additional string that is unfretted, it's a harp guitar. If it's another neck, that's not a harp guitar, that's a double neck guitar. So they have all different numbers of strings. I mean, you've probably seen the Papathini Picasso, that is the name of it, that Linda Manzer of Canada did. That's got little, have you seen that one?
Oh, yeah.
Just check it out.
Yeah.
It's got little necks coming out this way, and that way, and there's banks of strings everywhere. It's ridiculous. I mean, I think I don't know. I mean, he could.
Plays it.
Yeah, right on a couple of tunes.
Yeah, he'll play it.
Yeah, just a couple of tunes.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's it. Yeah.
It's got to be really
crazy.
very specific
Yeah.
to tune. It's not the sort of a general purpose thing.
I think he just wanted to see how crazy he could be.
I think probably so, and he got it. And it's great looking and it's cool sounding, but it's insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, but all kinds of configurations. Oh, the other thing is that this almost, harp guitar was not that far away from becoming what we know of as the classical guitar. There's a guy named Mario Macafari, I believe Mario was his first name, who you probably know of might have heard of as a luthier who built Django Reinhardt's guitars. But before he was a luthier, he was a classical guitarist playing classical music on harp guitar. And he and Segovia were touring Europe at the same time. Like they were both at the pinnacle. They were playing the same halls. And so it could have gone either way. But Macafari, I don't know what happened, but somehow or another, I believe it was his wrist. He broke his wrist. And so he was out. And Segovia and the Spanish school, Spanish style of classical guitar with just nylon strings on a regular guitar body, is what we know as classical guitar. Julian Breen applied to the Royal Conservatory with a harp guitar and was turned down, and I think basically told to come back with a real guitar. But in Russia, it stayed on with 3 sub basses. That sort of stayed their classical guitar, their classical guitar. Yeah, that when they play classic music on. At the gathering, we actually have had Russian, players demonstrating that. It's a lot of it comes in many different shapes and sizes with numbers of strings. And but this is what I love them all, but this is what I'm comfortable with, and it just speaks to me. And I'm I've written and arranged tune after tune after tune with these things. What else can I? What other misinformation can I spread?
How much of your harp guitar recordings were done on that guitar?
I don't know exactly. I mean, I did one album that was just on this guitar. It came out in 2009. Celebrated being 100. It's called Good Wood. So that was all this guitar. And actually, I did it for my upcoming one too. I think there's 4 or 5 tracks. There's one track on there that it's with Alex Lifeson and a drummer and bass player that he recommended. I wrote a tune called Mr. Zelensky because I was truly inspired by him. I started writing it shortly after Russia. I'm sorry, shortly after Mr. Zelensky started that war with Russia. We were told. And Alex added, so that's a harp guitar. I started on a harp guitar. I actually started it. I started writing the tune on this one, but I wound up recording on my Winger. And then Alex added some very cool stuff. So that was released as a single in 2023, but I'm putting it on, this putting it as the last song on this album that's coming out. So other than that, I think there's 5 harp guitars, and they all have Harp with Big Mama. I didn't even do my line about Big Mama that I generally use, and it's, which is that she's in great shape, occasionally has a buzz in her G string, but if you were 116 years old and had any kind of a buzz in your G string, you'd be pretty happy.
That's fair.
I know, it's true.
You can't argue with that.
You cannot argue that. How's our time? Yeah, Arya.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, when you and I were talking, you wanted to say something to the group instead of...
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, that's right. I did want to say this. Okay, so I don't know all of you. Some of you I've met before in various places. Some of you I'm just meeting now. Some of you I haven't actually met yet, but whatever. So I don't know the circumstances here for everybody, but so when I was doing a workshop, probably 20 years ago or something, for the Michigan Fingerstyle Guitar Society, Association, whatever they are. And I was just, I was hanging out outside the room where it was going to take place, just, people were just getting their guitars out, tuning up, and I'm listening and warming up, and I'm listening to them, and there's a bunch of people that are slapping and tapping and, doing complicated stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, rethinking my game plan for what I was going to do, because I really had no idea going into it what I was going to teach. And some guy came up to me and said, Stephen, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so happy to be doing this workshop with you. I want to apologize now. I can't go to the concert tonight. It's my wife's birthday, and she's not into this like I am. So I'm taking her out to dinner. I said, well, that's great. I totally understand. You're doing the right thing. Thanks for coming to the workshop. He said, you're going to play Happy Birthday for her on your guitar, right? He said, oh, no, I don't know how to do that. I said, what? He said, no, I don't know how to do that. And right there, I started out the workshop with just some little finger picking exercise that I often start out workshops with. And then I said, okay, enough of that. So, it's your wife's or your grandmother's or whatever. It's your kid's birthday tomorrow. It's your grandmother's birthday tomorrow. You're having a get together. You're gonna play Happy Birthday to her on your guitar, right? You know how to do that. And I said, how many of you know how to do that? And he said, no hands went up. So what we did for that workshop was, I said, okay, well, guess what? It's your grandmother's birthday tomorrow. And I said, you along with the person that you're sitting next to, go off in different parts of the room, and I want you to work up your version of Happy Birthday. And then because you're going to play it for your birthday, your grandmother's birthday, because you don't want to disappoint your grandmother, do you? I mean, you got these expensive guitars, you obviously have some skills, and so that's what we did. And I just would go around the room, and I just would, coach them a little bit, or say, that sounds great, or what if you do this, or I'm going to do that, or whatever. And then they all played what they come up with at the end of the thing for each other. So we're not going to do that now because we don't have enough time. But just a reminder, as you get into all the complicated fingerstyle stuff that you're doing, which you are doing because you're listening to some masters of the instrument here that you're getting instruction from. These guys are great players, and I guarantee that all of them, well, except for Antoine, because Antoine probably doesn't know Happy Birthday, but he would play. This is. He wrote Mother. He would probably write Grandmother, and do that, and it would be gorgeous and unbelievably complicated. But anyway, so how many of you would be able, whose your grandmother's or your wife's or your spouse's birthday tomorrow, would be able to, with as long as you realized a day ahead of time, if you don't already know, to actually play a fingerstyle guitar version of Happy Birthday.
I did like a
No, I
few years
learned
ago,
about
but I
that
don't
too.
remember.
Yeah, many years ago.
I did a vocal, just chords.
Okay, well, that would do it, but, come on, you got the expensive instruments. Take all these lessons. This is workshop. Okay, but so I'm seeing only a few of you, so all I wanted to say was, and thank you for the reminder, David, was don't forget some of the simple things, okay? Some things like that, or if you have a kid, you gotta learn how to play. When my son was little, I played Raffy tunes for him. It's somebody else now, you did that too. So, or if you got a funeral and your grandma's favorite tune was, What a Wonderful World, or whatever, and somebody says, shouldn't even have to ask. You're gonna volunteer, you're gonna say, yeah, I'll look up grandma's favorite tune, or whatever. You know what I mean? Don't forget that stuff, because it's important too. So, that's just my 2 cents. Thank you again. Okay, and you had a question.
I guess my question is, do you have any exercises that you do to either loosen up your hands?
Yes, just one, and I will send it to you. Just send me the PDF. That's the other thing. I will send all of you. Pick several. If you want them, pick several transcriptions of mine, and just send me an email, and I'll just send it to you. Okay, my emails are really simple. It's harpguitar.com. So my initials sb@harpguitar.com is me. Very easy. And I will send you that. It's a very simple little exercise, but it's what I used to start out every workshop with. It was, one of those total hands-on workshops, which is not exactly what this one was. So, how we doing, Andy?
Perfect.
We're good?
We're good.
Okay. Any last question or anything? Yeah.
You have any other parting wisdom because you have a different perspective of fingerstyle. Any wisdom that you might have for us?
Beyond what the pearls I have dropped. So, let's see. I'm just being nasty. That's what I do. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I will. That's the rest of the evening. So I'll think about it.